Hi everyone, my name is Mahya Indra Tama. I will present my paper entitled Discrete Event Simulation Modeling for Classifying the Container Yard Availability Considering Dock Unloading Activity. This paper was compiled by Mahya Indra Tama, Nurhadi Siswanto, Suparno, and Bayu Dwi Aksa. The development of system and technology in the industry, especially in the supply chain sector, currently has a significant influence of the speed and accuracy along the supply chain. Throughout the supply chain the influence of various facility has an important role in the value of the supply chain itself. Terminal Teluk Lamong is a new container loading and unloading service company in Surabaya. However, based on the performance of service operation in the container yard, the yard occupancy ratio is relatively low, which is under 30%, whereas the flow of container in the terminal from 2015 to 2018 continues to increase. As we can see in the graph, the current yard occupancy ratio is 27.32%, which is below the average. But the trend shows year after year, the flow of container is increasing. The method we use is discrete event simulation. With step 1, the discrete event simulation is an experimental approach that is often used allow a high level of detail to be modeled because assumptions about buffer space, processing time, or priority delivery can be modeled. Step 2 is describe the problem condition in the container yard. This is to make it easier to get the identification of problem. Step 3, before making a simulation model, it is better to make a flowchart to help drawing of the actual system. Flowchart describe the process flow to facilitate the making of simulation in software. Step 4, there are 3 submodels for describing existing condition in the system. The first submodel is for cargo arrival, the second submodel is for choosing yard considering the yard capacity, and the last submodel is for delivery process. Step 5, the flowchart model will be created in simulation software, and the result of the model created must be able to interpret the actual system. This is the overall picture for the whole system, starting from incoming ships, unloading by cranes, transfer by truck, entering container yard until getting out of itself. The complex system must be divided into several submodels to make it easier to understand to the details. Thus is the first submodel. It shows the arrival of container separation of container type based on 20 feet and 40 feet. Then unloading containers by crane and container loads by trucks. After the truck enters container, yard and separate entities, aka truck and containers. The truck will check the availability of container at the dock, while containers that have entered yard will await execution by automatic stacking crane. The second submodel, before the entity enters the block yard, the entity will choose the largest block yard capacity. As we saw in the design model, there are 5 block yards for the selected capacity. After entering the block yard, the container will be loaded in the docking gate, which amount to 6. The selection of the docking gate is based on the business of each facility. Entities, aka trucks and containers, they will be separated after entering the docking station. The last submodel is for the delivery process. In the submodel, container that has entered yard will wait for pickup truck. If the pickup truck comes, then the signal for outgoing container will be executed and so on. After that, the 3 submodels will be combined to make the system complex and valid. Next is the validation process. There are 3 validation parameters to make the simulation system look like a real system. The first validation is total box, second is service time, and the last is yard occupancy ratio. As we can see, the test result show the T-stat value does not exceed the critical total T value, which means that system can be said to be similar to a real system. If so, then we make a scenario for the system improvement. The scenario created is in the following table. The letter describes the amount of yard, while the number describes the amount of dog gates. So the number of scenario created is 12. The scenario result obtained for the total block which is get higher when using 3 yards. Also for the service time gets higher when the box receive increases. Scenario results for utilities are the fewer facility we use, the greater that value of the utility we obtain, as in the parameter of dock utility and yard utility. So the conclusion of the discussion is scenario A4 has a high yard utility with low service time. This explains the use of yard that used to be 5 will be reduced to 3 yards with the use of docking gates amounting to 6. The consideration of selecting a scenario is based on two important parameters, namely utility and service time. Although scenario A1 has the highest utility, consideration of service time result has suboptimal value, so scenario A4 has a best output compared to scenario A1. Here described to the work time or service time will affect the waiting time or service time for the process of receiving containers. Here is a reference that I use, not much but helpful. Thank you for attention.